The dim glow of my laptop screen bathed the room in an eerie blue light. I stared at the chat window. Tell me something you've never told anyone. The cursor blinked. A silent demand. He was just a stranger. That's what I told myself. Just another faceless username in a sea of people willing to pay for company. He didn't know me as Veronica Langston, the woman whose life had crumbled under her husband's betrayal. He didn't know I had once been a respected financial analyst before my world turned to ash. He only knew Eve 38. A woman who was desired. Paid to be heard. Someone who still mattered. I flexed my fingers, hovering over the keyboard before I typed. I've never told anyone that I don't regret losing my husband. I regret trusting him, but I don't regret him being gone. And sent. The reply came instantly. So, you don't miss being a wife? A slow breath slipped from my lips. No, I typed back. But I miss feeling wanted. I shut my eyes for a second. It wasn't a lie. The blue light of the screen flickered against my skin. A new message popped up. I want you to close your eyes. Picture yourself in a room with me. What do you see? A shiver traced my spine. This was familiar territory. Men came to Cyberfriend for fantasy. I played the role they wanted. It wasn't sex work. It was companionship. A digital escape. And tonight, after one too many glasses of wine, I needed the escape just as much as they did. I typed slowly. I see someone who knows how to touch me without using their hands. Send. I smirked. I was good at this. Always in control. Then, ping. A payment notification. My breath hitched as I glanced at the sender. $100 received from Daniel 19. The smirk faded. My stomach twisted, a deep, sickening knot forming. No. I blinked. Read it again. No, no, no. Click. My hand trembled as I opened his profile. No picture. No real name. Just a gray avatar and that username that sent ice down my spine. If you're new here, subscribe. Our growing community isn't afraid of the dark truths most people refuse to talk about. How would you feel if this job was your only hope of surviving? And then something ripped it away? Before now, I had scrolled through job listings for hours. Nothing. Banking? Out of the question. No firm would touch me after what happened. My name was a stain, whispered in HR meetings like a cautionary tale. Remote jobs? They all wanted experience I didn't have. My savings are gone. My dignity. Shredded. And then lockdown happened. The world goes silent. Businesses shut down. Hiring freezes hit every industry. And suddenly, I am trapped. Not just in my apartment. In my own failure. Bills pile up. The fridge empties faster than I can stretch the money I have left. Till heavens gave me a chance to become a cyberfriend. I don't know when I first found Cyberfriend. Maybe it was a late night, scrolling through desperate ways to make money. Maybe it was loneliness. Maybe it was the unbearable quiet. But when I saw the ad, get paid to be someone's virtual companion, I clicked without hesitation. Not realizing that one click would be the first step toward a secret I would never escape. The first few clients blurred together. Men in their 50s and 60s, their voices heavy with regret. They paid for my time, but all they really wanted was an audience. One man droned on about his ex-wife. Another ranted about his ungrateful children. A third just sat there, breathing into the mic, never saying a word. I perfected the art of pretending to listen. Well-placed hums. Soft chuckles. The occasional, "That must have been hard for you." It was easy. Forgettable. Then, Daniel 19 booked me. We talked for an hour that night. About nothing. About everything. He had a sharp wit, slipping jokes into the conversation so seamlessly they caught me off guard. He made me really laugh. For the first time in weeks. And when I finally logged off, my chest felt lighter. The next night, he booked me again. And the next. It became a routine. We started with meaningless chatter. Favorite movies, the worst songs ever written, whether cereal was technically soup. But as the nights stretched on, the conversations changed. He asked about my past. My regrets. The things that kept me up at night. What's one thing you wish you could undo? I told him about my old job. How I had built a life for myself, only to watch it crumble. How I lost everything. Do you miss it? He asked. The job? No. But I miss who I was. His next message came slower. More deliberate. You remind me of someone. A flicker of unease crawled up my spine. Who? I typed. I watched the screen, heart hammering as the dots blinked. Then his reply appeared. Someone who never lets herself be happy. I inhaled sharply, the words slicing through me. Too close. Too personal. The wine dulled the edges of my thoughts and made them slow and loose. I shouldn't have been drinking. Not while working. Not while talking to him. But after weeks of late-night conversations, after the way Daniel 19 listened, it didn't feel like work anymore. It felt like something else. Something dangerous. I leaned back against the couch, the laptop screen glowing in the dimly lit room. My fingers hovered over the keyboard, hesitating. Then I typed. There was a time when my name meant something. A pause. Veronica Langston. Senior Financial Analyst. The woman executives nodded to when she entered a boardroom. The words tumbled out too easily like a dam finally breaking. I told him everything. How I climbed my way up, earning respect in a world that barely let women through the door. How I had power, influence, a future. And how it all vanished. Because of him. My husband. The man who stood beside me at company parties, hand on the small of my back, whispering promises into my ear. The man who siphoned money under my name. Who left a digital trail leading straight to me when the SEC came knocking. I lost everything overnight. My job. My credibility. The career I had spent years building. And the worst part? The mistake wasn't even mine. I blinked, my vision swimming. The confession sat there, raw and exposed in the chat window. I had never told anyone the full truth before. Not like this. But Daniel 19. He made it easy. I feel like a ghost in my own life, I admitted. A long silence stretched between us. The cursor blinked. Waiting. Then, finally, a reply appeared. One word. Mom. My heart slammed against my ribs. The screen blurred. My breath caught in my throat. No, no, no. A wave of nausea hit me as my eyes locked onto his username. Daniel 19. The chats. The way he knew me. The questions. The familiarity. It wasn't a stranger I had been confiding in. It was my son. If you're still watching, please take a moment of your precious time to like, share, and subscribe. Your support will truly help this channel grow. After the shocking realization that I had been chatting with my son, I deleted the app that night. Cleared the chat history. Shut my laptop. Told myself it was over. But the reality was worse. I couldn't escape Daniel because we were trapped in the same house. The walls weren't thick enough to separate what had been done and what had been said. Every shared space, the hallway, the kitchen, the living room, felt smaller, suffocating. I avoided him. Stayed locked in my room, creeping out only when I was sure he was asleep. But he didn't avoid me. I felt his presence everywhere. A shadow lingering in the corner of my vision. A figure leaning against the doorway when he thought I wasn't looking. Then one night, I entered the kitchen, reaching for a glass of water, and he was there. Sitting at the table. Watching me. His voice cut through the air. Low. Measured. You won't even look at me? I flinched, fingers tightening around the glass. My throat burned, dry as sandpaper. I didn't answer. You had no problem talking to me online. I gritted my teeth, turned toward the sink and kept my back to him. Don't, I warned. He exhaled, slow and heavy. I'm not mad, he said. I just don't understand. I gripped the edge of the counter, knuckles white. I didn't want to understand. Daniel's chair scraped against the floor. The air behind me shifted as he stood. You weren't just my mom, he murmured. You were someone else. The words slithered down my spine, cold and slick. I turned to face him then. And the look in his eyes, calm, unshaken, and his hands on my waist and the other on my face made my stomach lurch as he pressed his lips against mine. But now, as he looked at me like that, I realized I had only opened a door. Immediately, I pulled myself away, stepped back thrice to give enough distance. We're not talking about it. Daniel tilted his head, pretending to think. About what? You know what? A slow, knowing smile tugged at the corner of his lips. I was just being a good son, he said. Checking in on my mother. Making sure she was happy. My breath caught. That was what I had told him, wasn't it? Late at night, when I thought he was just another faceless client, I had told him exactly what I felt. That I wasn't happy. That I hadn't been in a long time. I swallowed hard. Drop it, Daniel. He didn't move. You didn't feel like my mother then, he murmured. When you were talking to me. You felt different. I gripped the counter, willing my hands not to shake. That was a mistake. Daniel took a slow step forward. Was it? The floor beneath me felt unsteady. The air around us felt different now. Charged, dangerous. I needed to end this. Right now. We're done talking about it. My voice was sharp, cutting. Do you understand me? A flicker of something crossed his face. But he didn't argue. He rushed over to me and silenced me with a deep kiss. His grip was firm, making it impossible for me to pull away. I knew it was wrong, but I couldn't deny that I enjoyed every bit of his touch, his demeanor, and everything that followed, things I can't even bring myself to say. After that day, I started avoiding him like the plague. I thought being jobless was my biggest problem, but what happened between Daniel and me was an even bigger issue. The lockdown lifted in slow, hesitant phases. Shops reopened, businesses staggered back to life, and the world started breathing again. But inside my house, inside my chest, everything still felt suffocating. Daniel and I had fallen into an unspoken rhythm. He never brought up cyberfriend again, and I never let myself forget what had happened. We ate meals in silence. Shared the same space like two strangers forced under one roof. Yet I felt him watching me. Not in the way a son watches his mother. In the way someone watches a secret they aren't ready to let go of. Every night, I locked my bedroom door. And every morning, I woke up knowing something had shifted between us. Something that would never shift back. So I made a decision. It was a Sunday when I told him. I set his coffee mug on the kitchen table and took the seat across from him. He was scrolling through his phone, distracted, but I knew the moment I spoke, I'd have his full attention. You're going to your father's. His fingers froze. Slowly, he lifted his gaze. What? I gripped my mug, the ceramic warm against my palms. The lockdown is over. Flights are running again. I already spoke to your dad. He's expecting you next week. A long silence stretched between us. Then he let out a short, humorless laugh. You're serious? I nodded once. His expression darkened. So that's it? You're just sending me away. I swallowed, forcing the lump down my throat. I'm giving you a fresh start. Daniel leaned back in his chair, arms crossed. A fresh start, he echoed, voice low, unreadable. Or are you just running? The word struck me harder than I expected. Because maybe, just maybe, he was right. Maybe I was running. Not just from him but from everything that had happened. From the lines that had blurred. From the words I had typed to a stranger who turned out to be my own son. From the way I had exposed my loneliness, my deepest regrets, without realizing the one person who should never have heard them was reading them all along. So I held my ground. This is what's best for you. His jaw clenched. No. It's what's best for you. I stared at him. Daniel. You don't get to do this. His voice sharpened. You don't get to act like I'm the problem here. You were the one talking to me. You were the one who wanted to be seen. My stomach twisted. I didn't know it was you. And if you had? I couldn't answer that. And that terrified me more than anything. Daniel exhaled sharply, shaking his head. You can't just erase this. I can try. His lips pressed into a thin line. For a moment, I thought he might fight harder. That he might refuse. But then, something in his expression changed. Something I couldn't quite place. Acceptance? Resignation? Or something worse? Understanding. He stood, pushing his chair back. Fine. I blinked. Fine. Yeah. He grabbed his mug, downed the last sip, and set it back down with a quiet clink. I'll go. I should have felt relieved. Instead, a chill crept down my spine. He left the room without another word. And I sat there, staring at the empty seat across from me, knowing I had done what needed to be done, but also knowing deep in my bones that this wasn't over. If you enjoyed this story, don't forget to like, share, and subscribe. Your support helps us bring more content like this your way. And if you never want to miss a video, turn on the notification bell. Until next time, stay thoughtful, stay engaged, and most importantly, stay honest with yourself.